It was established at the conference this week that efforts to eradicate child labour have slowed since 2016, when the world recorded that 152 million children are in child labour. Since then, the number has gone up by 8 million to 160 million. Africa accounts for 80% of this number. Socio-economic challenges contributed the most to this increase.
So this conference has first looked at the drivers, and it's clear that increased poverty, the global economic downturn is a key driver. Families becoming hard up for cash and therefore resorting to bringing children into the labor market to complement family income. We have also seen the impact of COVID, because as the economies were closed, many people ran short of cash. They also resorted to increased child labor. So as we try to accelerate, upscale and push towards meeting the goal of 2025, the key three areas I want to highlight is, again, integrated policies highlighting the importance of social protection, highlighting the importance of education, highlighting for the younger adults the importance of quality tertiary education, the role of business, not only to not support child labor, but also to be at the forefront of ensuring that their workforce is a workforce that does not work with child labor.
Government, labour and business have committed to work towards SDG 8.7, even though the target is likely to be missed. The many aspects that give rise to the child labour were discussed this week, including the role that education can play, as well as the financing of it.
The emphasis was on making education universal to all the children of the world, because at the moment we are aware that children are not accessing education. So at least if there's a conscious effort of making sure that we shift fiscal spending from other areas and concentrate on such things as education, health and so on. So this is trying to reimagine how we do public financing or in countries, because at the moment you find that the reason education, even health and other social protection measures are not getting as much as they should is because they are competing with other priorities. So in order to deal with this, we are suggesting that as the Sustainable Development Goals have suggested, that let us try to ramp up on projects that have to do with poverty alleviation and so on. So that is the key point that, in my view, came out of the discussion on education. The second question concerns the financing. Yes, we have all the DFIs and other institutions on board. We hope that we can put money together. But of course, again, even at international level, there are competing priorities. As you might know, that such things as climate change, they also demand a lot of money as well. Now, when we move to this, there's also an issue. But we also see some companies, such as Nestle, which sort of tries to go backwards and work with their suppliers downstream and support them in order to improve wages. So there are all sorts of other interventions that are ongoing at the moment.
Discussions here were geared towards the development of a Durban call to action, a declaration that will be formally adopted on Friday. This was the first time that this conference included the voice of children in the way that it did. The conference hosted over 60 young people from across Africa and the world. These youngsters even managed to develop their own Durban call to action.
Governments should consider a multi-stakeholder approach on protecting the rights of the child. Richer countries should commit to providing official document assistance for poorer countries, especially in cases of emergencies. For an example, providing safe spaces for shelters that can be used to empower the children and their parents or caregivers on matters pertaining to child labor.
Children and young people's voices matter. They are able to articulate their issues better when they are properly engaged. Ensuring the active participation of children and young people in key decision-making places which includes conferences and the formulation of national action plans to protect children from labor and harmful work.
Diabosito, SABC News, Durban.